Pledge of Allegiance, and then if you would please remain standing, we'll have a brief moment of silence. Brian, could you lead us in the pledge today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Chris, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Buick?
Present.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here, we have a quorum. We, at every public meeting, the Commonwealth law requires that we have an opportunity for public comment. We kind of go one step beyond that. We have two opportunities for public comment, one at the beginning of the meeting and one at the end of the meeting. And you're welcome to comment both times, or one of the two times, or if you're just here to listen, that's also fine. We do ask that your comments be related to county government matters. If your concern involves Pennsylvania, the state, I recommend you talk to your state legislators. Same with the federal. Talk to your federal legislators, or if it's a municipal issue, talk to your local folks. But if it's a county issue, you're certainly in the right place. We also ask if you can try to limit your time to about 5 minutes. We appreciate that as well. Next on the agenda, and I take it everybody has an agenda, row officer reports and comments. None of our row officers are in attendance today. So that takes us to public comment, and I'll open the floor and see if anybody has a comment they would wish to make at this time. Hearing none. We'll repeat this before we adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Under fiscal and contractual, in our packets, and these documents that we're going to be talking about, referring to, they are available if anybody wishes to see them. We can certainly share them with you, including warrant registers that have been submitted to us by the County Controller's Office, dated October 10 and October 11. They're officially known as check reconciliation registers, and they're a listing of all of the payments that have been made by the county. I'll give my colleagues some time to look them over, and whenever you're ready, I could take a motion to accept these documents.
I did have the opportunity to review them and see nothing out of the ordinary, so I will make that motion.
I second the motion.
Thank you both, but I'll see if either of you have any questions. None?
No.
Commissioner Buick? No? It's been moved and seconded to accept the warrant registers as submitted. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Under minutes and correspondence, we have the minutes of the Commissioners' public meeting that was held 1 week ago on October 10. Give my colleagues some time to look those minutes over, and whenever you're ready, I could take a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Brian, any concerns?
No, just that I actually typed up my comments last week and gave them to Vanessa to put in the minutes, and I'm reading them over now. I actually have a tense of one verb wrong, and I left a word out. So I'd like to just correct my own comments, but grammatically. But other than that, the minutes look good to me. I'll make those corrections to you by email. So sorry about that.
I wasn't going to bring that up. But
I gotta start proofreading my own documents before I turn them in. So.
I was quite surprised that that's the problem.
That's the educator.
Right. Teacher, I always go back and double check everything.
Loretta, any concerns about the minutes over and above what Mr. commented on? We do have a motion then to adopt them. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under written communications, we have one document that has come in during the past week. It was correspondence from Maurice Waltz, planners and consultants out of Sharpsville, Pennsylvania. It was sent to the County Planning Commission on behalf of the borough of Wampum. And Mr. Waltz wrote to Amy McKinney that on behalf of the Wampum Borough Council, we are requesting your project review and support letter. The borough of Wampum intends to submit 2 PennVest applications for financial assistance. One application is to install new potable water service lines in order to remove lead components from the existing service lines. The second application is to replace potable water main lines in order to remove lead components from the existing water mains. And then, let's see, that was dated September 25, and then on October 6, Alan Miller, the Deputy Director of Planning and the Hazard Mitigation Officer from the Planning Office, has written to Wanton Borough indicating that the proposal on Wanton Borough's part is consistent with the Lawrence County Land Use Plan, Comprehensive Plan, and all other county and local land use and agricultural preservation that impacts the area. Mr. Miller also writes, this project is important and we strongly encourage Penvest to provide appropriate funding. May I have a motion to enter this document into the record?
So moved.
Second.
And I'll see if Loretta has any comments.
No.
Brian?
No.
No, thank you. We have a motion and a second to accept this document. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Under reports, we have commissioner reports, and today, according to this, Mr. Burek, you get to go first.
Bear with me. I've already been warned to keep my comments brief, but since last week's public commissioners meeting, first, I had many meetings. I want to just give a real quick recap. First, we had an election board meeting last Tuesday, and at that meeting, the board discussed, and we put in a request to the Court of Common Pleas. Quick summary, the state law requires 3 days after election day for the canvassing board to meet to review the results of the election. This year, the election is Tuesday, November 7th. 3 days later is Friday, November 10th. That day happens to be Veterans Day holiday. The courthouse will be closed. So the Board of Elections voted to request to the Court of Common Pleas, and I received a copy of the administrative order yesterday from President Judge Dominic Motto. I'll just read real quick. Upon the attached recommendation of the Lawrence County Board of Elections, it is hereby ordered that the public meeting for the computation of and canvassing of returns for the 2023 general election will be moved from Friday, November 10th, 2023 at 9 a.m. to Monday, November 13th, 2023 at 9 a.m. This due to the observance of the Veterans Day holiday on Friday, November 10th. This change of date will ensure that any candidate who has an issue with the canvass can immediately access the court as provided for under the Pennsylvania statute. So I just wanted to note for the record, Friday, November 10th, the courthouse will be closed. That Monday, November 13th, the canvassing board of the Board of Elections will meet at 9 a.m. And I'm sure everybody in this room is looking forward to the results of the general election coming up here in November with our county, local, and school board races and 2 statewide court races. Next, I just wanted to recap real quick the meetings attended by the Board of Commissioners. Last week, we had a West Central Job Partnership Board meeting up in Mercer County. That's the board where the Lawrence County Commissioners and the Mercer County Commissioners work together to oversee the federal job training funds for Lawrence and Mercer County. So, and that agency does an excellent job. They met all of their goals as set by the State Workforce Investment Board. Very proud of that staff. I also attended the Lawrence County Learning Center board meeting last week as a guest, and Commissioner Vogler serves on that board as well. That board invited me to be a board member, and I accepted. You may recall I was one of the co-founders and of that organization many years ago, and I was a board member for 8 years. And they still do good work working with various educational providers here in Lawrence County. And hopefully we'll have some more positive things to report from that agency soon. The commissioners also attended the Lawrence County Planning Commission meeting last week out in Washington Township. I participated in a statewide call with our County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania. Well, at least once a month, the staff of CCAP gives an update on legislation that affects counties. I attended the School to Work Lawrence County Career Fair at the Cathedral last week. All of the 10th graders in Lawrence County got to come to the Cathedral. I was very impressed with the array they had. community colleges there, trade schools there, employers in the area there. There's many good careers to be had in Lawrence County, and that was a great day for our young people in high school to open their eyes to realize there's a lot of different options when they get out of high school. But we need many of those students to choose to pursue careers right here in Lawrence County to fill vacant needs. And that ties in with the West Central Board. We actually have several very successful manufacturers here in Lawrence County that are expanding their business, and they need additional people willing to go into learn the skilled trades in the manufacturing environment. We had a meeting up at CWS with the staff. We recognized one of our CWS staff hit their 30-year anniversary. Nice event and a chance to talk to CWS staff about updates up there. And then just yesterday, the commissioners met with our insurance broker to go over the proposed rates for next year. And I'm sure the chairman will have more to say about that, but it was pretty good news given the rate environment and the inflation environment that we're looking at for other costs. And then this was on top of our regular meetings with staff and department heads on various issues and reviewing all the purchase orders that come through. So once again, a very busy week. And again, the reason I do this is just to let people know that the commissioners have many, many responsibilities in addition to coming here once a week and voting at our public meetings on resolutions and ordinances. So thank you for allowing me the time to give that report.
Commissioner Burek, thank you. Commissioner Spielvogel.
I have to say, you know, as much as we agitate and joke about it, it's very good to have that synopsis put together, because there are many things that we do and we take for granted that people understand that that's part of our functioning, but many times they don't. And you've reminded me just of a couple of things that I would want to add to mostly about the manufacturing and then also school to work. I sit on the school to work board and very, very proud of the work that is done. I spoke with the director, Linda Jaworski-Rapone, and this past one was the most vendors that there have ever been. So I think that shows that there's a great need for our youth to be exposed to the different types of careers that are available here in our backyard. That's a large issue. We have, you know, many of our youth leaving the community. You know, and manufacturers are looking for those positions. Along with that, mentioning West Central Job Partnership, you reminded me that they did receive a $900,000 award to form a Ohio-Pennsylvania manufacturing coalition to attempt to address those issues. It is Mercer and Lawrence County in Pennsylvania, and then 3 neighboring counties in Ohio. Years ago, there was such a board, I believe, and it's sort of gone by the wayside. Hopefully this will come to fruition, and you know, let's try to solve those problems. So there are many issues with our workforce. It was a workforce shortage that was predicted, you know, years ago. I think COVID compounded it, but we're still faced with it. So I'm just happy that we, as a board, along with Mercer County commissioners, are able to advance as much as we can. So as much as I agitate you, I'm thankful that you do those things, because I know I forget myself some of the things that we're involved in. Right now, one of the things that is high on my priorities list is our choosing the next executive director of the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission that handles a lot of our transportation needs and is expanding into broadband and a little bit of the economic development of Southwestern Pennsylvania. I am on the executive committee, and we are currently interviewing the candidates to replace the director that unfortunately, due to personal reasons, had to resign. So there's a lot of things that we do and you know, put our different hats on, and I hope the public knows and understands that. But I appreciate you bringing those things to light in such a coordinated fashion. So thank you.
Thank you, Loretta. And I want to thank you for your leadership on the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission Executive Committee. I know in the last week or so, you've had some lengthy Zoom meetings, and I guess more to come.
Yes.
Going through a very extensive interview process. So thank you for the time that you devote to that. We've noted in the past that Lawrence County is unique in that we are members of the Southwest Pennsylvania Commission, but we are also members of the Northwest Pennsylvania Planning Commission. I happen to represent our county on that board. I happen to chair the board for at least till July. It's a 2-year term. And we actually had a planning session on Friday up in Oil City. So this board recognizes the importance of being involved locally, regionally, statewide, and I think your example of being involved regionally with SPC is a very important one. So thank you for the time that you devote to that. The only other 2 things I'll mention, I was reminded this morning, just going through emails and the internet, there's a report that out of Pittsburgh that next week we're going to see a new grocery store open in Neshannock Township in Call's Plaza, grocery outlet bargain market. And I guess they had announced that a while back, and I quite frankly forgotten about it until I saw it on television this morning. So we welcome them to Lawrence County, and it's the first store in Western Pennsylvania that this company has opened. They have one clear out in Franklin County, which is out in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, but this is the first one in Western Pennsylvania, so we're honored to have them locate here. And Mr. Burek referenced the fact that yesterday we met with folks who assist us in securing health insurance coverage for our employees. And we're currently engaged with Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they have submitted their cost estimates and their proposal for us to continue coverage with them next year. And there is an increase, but it's 2%. And the last 3 years, there have been increases, but they've been extremely low. They've been below the rate of inflation. And it was pointed out to us that there are a number of other county and municipal entities that are seeing double-digit increases in their health insurance costs. We've been very fortunate. Our utilization is good in terms of, obviously, it's available for our employees, and but in terms of utilization, we've handled that well. Our employees are required, as all of us who work here, we do have co-pays and deductibles, and we do have to pay for a percentage of our health insurance coverage. But that figure was welcomed, I would say. So do either of you have anything to add to that?
Maybe just for clarification purposes, that percentage is something that we will absorb as the county.
Yes.
As part of our budget.
Yes.
Just for clarification, I know sometimes if somebody's viewing or they hear in passing, might think that 2% will be passed along to the employees, but it's not.
Exactly. No, my understanding is that the percentage they're currently paying towards their health insurance would remain as it is right now. That's your understanding as well? Anything else, Brian?
No, but as you point out, that's lower than most other large employers are seeing as far as their health insurance increase. It's lower. Social Security announced this week that the COLA for 2024 is 3.2%. And so this increase is significantly lower than the going inflation rate, especially for insurances. So very, very welcome report yesterday.
Well, thank you both. We'll move on to new business. Mr. Martwinski is with us today. Vince, good morning. Would you mind having a seat up here, please? Vince is with the District Attorney's Office, and we certainly appreciate your joining us this morning. And you have, and we'll note that Mr. Lamakusa, as we speak, is on the 3rd floor conducting a homicide trial, which is why he's not able to be here. So thank you for filling in for Josh. And the proposal you have before us is an agreement that enter into a cooperative policing initiative between the Criminal Investigations Division of the Lawrence County District Attorney's Office and the City of Newcastle. Vince, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're able to share anything with us about, to the best of your ability, we would appreciate that.
My name is Vincent Martwinski. I'm a captain with the Lawrence County District Attorney's Office. So the district attorney presently maintains a criminal investigation division, and that's staffed with Act 120 police detectives. Those detectives have full policing powers throughout the jurisdiction of Lawrence County. So our criminal investigation division is looking to sort of team up with Newcastle's Detective Bureau to sort of coordinate policing efforts and increase like productivity and then being able to share the framework of investigative information. So we're not duplicating investigative efforts. A lot of times we sort of run into that issue. So we're trying to team this up together as one task force unit and then be able to just sort of share that information and work out of the one area and just sort of collaborate that information throughout the county.
I appreciate your giving us that background. That's very helpful. And I'll note that even though this is an agreement between the district attorney's office and the city, since it is a formal document, state law requires that the commissioners essentially ratify and accept the document, which is something I think we're about to do. But I'll see if Mr. Burek has any questions for Vince.
No questions, just comment, thank him and the DA and the entire department. They continue to work with other law enforcement partners in the county to do the best job possible, and I applaud them.
Thank you, Brian. Loretta.
Same thing, having to coordinate those services so that there is not a duplication of services. I mean, coming from that field, you don't want to interview the same victim 2 or 3 times or search that same area or take a different statement. Or interfere with a part of an investigation that somebody has already taken care of. It can be difficult sometimes, but to know that the county and the city are working together as a one unit, a unified agency is great.
I would agree. Well, given the information that's been provided to us by Vince, the conversations that we've just had, and the documents before us. What number would this be, Chris?
391.
391. This is proposed resolution 391. I'll ask for a motion for us to approve it.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Any final comments? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Burek?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Vince, thank you again for coming down. And I'll say this, and I'll say it because it's applicable to everybody that's giving reports today, so I don't have to repeat myself. You're very welcome to stay, but if you have to head back to your office, we understand. Okay. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Most of the excitement has already happened. I don't know, the Burchetts are here. What do you have planned? I don't know.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank you, Vince.
The next 3 resolutions are from our Recycling and Solid Waste Department, and Jerry Zona and John Coolness are with us. Gentlemen, if you'd like to come up, please. It's always good to see you both, and thanks for being here. The first resolution, which would be 392, would give approval for the department to go ahead and advertise its intent to adopt a proposed solid waste management ordinance, and we'll be actually later in the meeting introducing the ordinance, not voting on it, but simply introducing it. But gentlemen, Jerry, I assume you'll want to start first, but if you want to give us some background on what it is you're proposing, please.
Absolutely. What we are proposing is an update to the county's solid waste management ordinance. The ordinance that we've been working on was last adopted. It was adopted in 1991. And of course, a lot of changes have occurred legislatively that impact that document and what we can do as a county. So basically, this is an attempt to modernize the ordinance. In 2014, we passed a set of rules and regulations that supplement the ordinance that was passed in 91. So it was kind of a nice transitional way for us to modernize our operations. And so for just about the past 10 years, we've been operating mainly out of those rules and regulations. So this ordinance will codify the new language. We're pretty much copying and pasting what we've been doing in the rules and regulations for the past 9 years into the ordinance.
Thank you for that summary. Let me ask you a few quick questions. Since this is a good thing, we're somewhat unique in the Commonwealth in that we have a partnership with Mercer County to the north. And your office basically reports to both boards of commissioners. And it's worked very well. At least that's been our impression. I assume you would agree. That being said, will the Mercer County commissioners have to do likewise?
They can if they so choose. Right now, we have a totally different ordinance in Mercer County compared to ours. So the Lawrence County ordinance has always been more of a progressive approach to things, and services a model for a lot of other counties across the Commonwealth. But yeah, we have two different ordinances that we work off. Two different solid waste plans, so yeah.
Interesting. I would have thought they would have been the same.
Thank you for clarifying that very
Thank you for the
much.
question.
And then also, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the primary reasons that Lawrence County and Mercer County have a recycling and solid waste office, am I correct in that it's a state mandated office and that if you go to any county in the Commonwealth, you have counterparts in each of the counties? Am I correct?
That is correct. So every county is required to have a solid waste management plan, and our office is born out of that plan. Some counties have chosen to go the route of an authority. Some just use a regular county department. So we have a county department that our job is to implement that solid waste plan.
And there are 3 of you in the department.
That's correct.
2 of you are here right now. Okay, good. Thank you for that. I'm going to see, thank you for all that background information. Commissioner Spillvogel, questions for Jerry or John?
Thank you.
Commissioner Burek?
No questions. Just you got me thinking though that it wouldn't make more sense long-term to work with the Mercer County Board of Commissioners to adopt the same updated ordinance. That way it would make it easier for you. That way you have uniform rules and policies for both counties. So.
Our goal is to pretty much have, our demographics are very similar. So it does make sense to have similar programs, similar ordinances and what have you, similar solid waste plans. So it's definitely something that is on our radar.
I think he did approach them a couple of years back about.
We did talk to them about updating it, but unfortunately the pandemic got in the way.
Okay.
Well, obviously it's their discretion. That's something to continue to try to work towards in the future. But I just want to say that I read the ordinance that he emailed us a few weeks back, and it's quite lengthy and quite detailed, and I think they did a great job on it. So,
what we tried to do with this ordinance is, when the public comes to us, there are so many different circumstances that it really includes recycling and waste management. And this ordinance was our attempt to make sure that we can, if somebody comes to us from the public, that we can help them out.
and several times it states in there, and I agree, the goal of it is compliance. We want everybody to handle their solid waste and recycling as environmentally friendly way as possible in compliance with state law and good policy. So I agree that that's the goal, is to help people comply with the policy, not to be punitive. Unfortunately, and John can tell stories about people that don't follow that. Jerry knows in my younger, healthier days, I used to help many times with the cleanups in the county, and we picked up, and they continue to do it. I applaud him and all of his volunteers of the staff to do that. But I participated in many cleanups over the years, pulling tires out of ravines and garbage where it shouldn't have been. And it's unfortunate there's people that'll do that, but the goal is to help people, let them know there are legal ways to dispose of their garbage and recyclables, and we need to encourage that. So, interesting side note, you probably saw recently in Philadelphia in the Schuylkill River, they found how many thousands of tires illegally dumped. They were dredging the river, and somebody years ago thought, oh, I know a cheap, easy way to get rid of old tires. They dumped literally thousands of tires in the Schuylkill River, And it was affecting the, a lot of teams use that, rowing teams use that river for
Mhm.
sport and recreation. And it's unfortunate there's still people that think you can just throw, instead of handling it the right way, find a cheaper, easier way. But the goal is to educate people how the damage that illegal dumping does into our environment and to the community, and encourage people to comply with best practices.
Thank you for that. And again, later in the meeting, we will take a vote to formally introduce the ordinance. But in order for us to do that, we do need to consider this proposed resolution. And sometimes we bundle them, but I'd like to do them separately if you don't mind.
No, no.
So let's start with this one in front of us, 392, that Mr. Zona and Mr. Coolmas have both presented. Could I have a motion for us to consider Resolution 392?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Further discussion? No, thank you. Chris, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And then, of course, the next two items, one of the things that the staff at this office is very good at, among others, is applying for grants that are available to help fund what you do. And again, for the record, that what you do is mandated by the Commonwealth. This resolution, number 393, would give you the ability to move forward with an application from the Pennsylvania Department of, to the Department of Environmental Protection for funding under Act 101, Section 901 planning grant. Jerry, can you give us a little bit of detail about this grant?
Sure. So I mentioned in talking about the ordinance about the county solid waste management plan. So every county is required to have a solid waste management plan and revisit and update it every 10 years. It's hard to believe it, but this is literally the fourth cycle that I've been involved with as far as these solid waste management plans go. So our plan is set to expire next year, which means that we need to pretty much put together a new plan. And all we're going to do is apply for a 901 planning grant that will cover 80% of the cost of doing that.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burek, questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Loretta?
No.
Okay. I have no questions either, so I would entertain a motion for proposed resolution 393.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. If there are no other comments, I'll ask Chris to call the roll.
Commissioner Spillvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And then finally, proposed resolution 394 is another grant for which you would be applying. Again, to the Department of Environmental Protection. This is the Act 101, Section 904 recycling grant. Can you give us some detail about that, please?
Yeah, so these are the grants I like because these are pretty much free money with no real strings attached. So the
We like those too.
right? The 904 program pretty much rewards counties and municipalities for their recycling effort. There's a calculation. We typically will get about $20,000 to $25,000 out of one of these applications. So you get there's a $5 per ton. There's a percentage based on your population and your waste reduction percentage and so forth. So with no strings attached, really you can just go into our general operations, which makes it nice.
Thank you. Loretta, do you have questions for Jerry or John?
No questions.
Brian?
Maybe I shouldn't ask it as a public meeting, but a follow-up meeting. I'm just curious. Previously, for example, in the city of Newcastle, the city collected the recyclables. Now that it's handled by a private company, what kind of compliance, what kind of monitoring is there to make sure that they're complying with the recycling plan?
We do get the annual recycling report, so jump back a step. At the county level, we are required, this is another state mandate, where counties are required to report to the state every year about the recycling activities that occur within its borders. So the municipalities report to us. We collect reports from all of the recycling haulers in the county, and we can submit it to the state. So that's our mechanism for making sure that our municipalities are in compliance with Act 101.
So do the private haulers report directly to you, or do they report to the municipality they serve and the municipality then reports to you?
We've streamlined that approach. The recyclers report directly to us. And then what we do is we share that information with our municipality so that it's accurate and consistent.
Thank you.
Thank you for those good questions and thank you for those good answers. I appreciate that. Loretta, anything else?
No.
May I have a motion for proposed resolution 394?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. If there is no other discussion, I'll request a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Jarrett?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will be introducing the ordinance. I don't need you to stay unless my two colleagues do. If you'd like for them to remain.
We'll stick around.
Okay, that's fine. You're very welcome to stay. I just didn't want to hold you up in case you had something important to move on to, but that's fine. We'll be getting there in short order. Thank you both, gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask one additional question?
Of course.
Mr. Zona has requested, as you know, we have to appoint what's called a SWAC, Solid Waste Advisory Committee. Last time that board was updated, several members on that board, unfortunately, are no longer in their positions or have passed away. I'm going to be meeting with him. Do you want to meet with us as a board to go over those names, or do you meet with us individually, or what's your preference?
That's totally up to you.
I plan on meeting with him at some point this week, maybe for 15, 20 minutes just to go over those names. If you want to do that as a group or individually, but we'll nominate those names and then, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we'll come back later in a public meeting and adopt the list of who's appointed to that board. Again, that's just the Solid Waste Advisory Committee.
Right.
That's just people in the community. We're going to make sure that our office, has community involvement, community input on our activities.
That's a good point, good question. So one of the things we're supposed to do as part of our solid waste planning process is put together that solid waste advisory committee. So it's a cross-section of Lawrence County, and they contribute to the development of that plan. So we'll have some private people on there. We'll have industry specialists. Planning department is typically involved, conservation district. So, our goal is to have a good workable document, not something that we just stick on the shelf somewhere once it's done.
You sent us an email with, I believe, the current listing, and I think you made a few suggestions in that email. So that's good. That's a good starting point. So that'll be fine. We'll get together with you. What kind of deadline do you have on that?
We've got plenty of time,
Okay.
but before the end of the year is fine. And
Okay.
that gives us time to ask people if they are, interested and able to serve on them.
All righty. Thank you both for bringing that up.
John, you got off the hook. We were multitasking. We didn't have to say
Wow.
Thank you again.
Next on the agenda, this falls under the commissioner's jurisdiction. This involves the certified mail software. Obviously, during the course of the workday, every office has things that they put together and pull together. They've got a mail. And we have a mail machine upstairs that runs all the mail through it. And Chris, if I go off on the wrong foot on this, just get me back in line here. But this proposal would allow us to enter into a 60-month lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for the Pitney Ship Pro shipping software and Pitney Ship Cubes. Oh, this is for 10 individual offices. So is this not related to the mail machine upstairs?
It is.
It is.
It is. It's just so that they can, those offices that use certifieds, the most can
yes.
do them themselves at their own office, at their own desk.
Understood. Appreciate it. Do you have anything else? I'm putting you on the spot.
No,
Anything
it's
else you want to add about this?
Just that it's a cost savings actually for the county, which is
Okay.
why we were looking into it.
Thank you very much. Let me see if Loretta has any questions.
No questions.
Thank you. Brian?
No questions. Just want to compliment, I know I've done in the past, but Chris Vanasco and Vanessa Bayless in our office are excellent, excellent county employees. And on this issue, once again, they spent a lot of time meeting with the Pitney Bowes company. And what they're recommending we do is improve the way we send out the certified mail. And it's actually, like she said, it's going to save us money. So I just want to compliment and thank both of them for all of your hard work and effort on this and every other issue.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out. In fact, the proposed resolution, which incidentally will be 395, notes that the cost of this service from Pitney Bowes will be $302 a month. But compared to what we're currently using, the annual savings is going to be $8,460. So I echo Mr. Buick's comments, and I'm sure Loretta agrees. We thank you
Yes,
for
thank
the work that you did on this. Any other questions or discussion? Thank you. I'll ask for a motion then for proposed resolution 395.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spillvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Next on the agenda, we have Rebecca Schaefer from the Planning Office. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hope you're well. It's CDBG time again.
Yes,
This
yes it is.
Proposed Resolution 396. This involves the Community Development Block Grant dollars. By the way, Rebecca's with our Planning Office. I need to note that for the record. And the Planning Office oversees the administration of the CDBG funds, Community Development Block Grant funds. Based on this resolution, we are projecting receipt of $622,739 from the federal government. And it is broken out in the following manner. Of that, $259,339 will be earmarked for the County of Lawrence. And then these three municipalities receive these dollars. Their local municipal officials determine how those dollars will be spent, but the county administers those funds in coordination with the three municipalities. And they are, in no particular order, Shenango Township, which is going to be receiving $129,442. Union Township, which will receive $105,641. And the Borough of Elwood City, which will receive $128,317. The City of Newcastle is separate. They administer their own program, and the dollars from the federal government go directly to the City of Newcastle. And then the amount I noted, the $259,339, is for the county and all other municipalities that we've not already spoken about. Based on this resolution, the county has determined that they will allocate their dollars for housing rehabilitation in non-entitlement communities, public services, and then obviously set aside some for program administration. The township supervisors in Shenango have determined that they will utilize their dollars in parks and recreation. Union Township supervisors have determined that they will earmark their dollars for housing rehabilitation. And the Borough of Elwood City officials have decided that they will earmark their dollars for curb ramps and housing rehabilitation, and that all three municipalities will also utilize some of the funds for program administration. I may have stolen all your thunder, but do you have more to add? I'm sorry if I did.
Made it easy for you.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
No, I'm sure you have some things to add.
And if anybody was wondering, the public services that the county's funds are going to is for transportation for CYS. I think that's been brought before the board before. So we're helping out. You guys are helping out with that part. So in the past, we've done public service for like the old YDC. Shenango has earmarked their pot of money for that, but we're helping out, in hopes that, we can get it streamlined, the transportation thing worked out. But in the meantime, that's what they're gonna do with that. So that's the only kind of different kind of thing that happened this year, because it's usually the bulk of it is normally the housing rehab, but I think we worked into on your request to do that.
Which was much needed, so
Yes.
we were able to do that.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes. But so now that's it. That's all I needed. Thank you, did a fine job.
Well, you had it all spelled out for me to read. I didn't memorize it, but I will note also for the record that the federal government does require that the planning office hold public hearings to give input as to how these dollars might be spent. And it's noted in this resolution that all of those required hearings were in fact carried out. Commissioner Burek, do you have questions for Rebecca?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Spielvogel. Okay, with that, we'll take a motion then to adopt Resolution 396.
So moved.
Second.
I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Rebecca, as always. we
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
All that you do.
Thank you.
Take care. Children and Youth Services, good morning, Mike. Mike Trippo is with us from CYS. It's always nice to have you here, sir. You have I believe, a proposed contract with a provider known as Forget Me Not Children and Youth Services based in Philadelphia. So would you like to fill us in on this, please?
Yeah. Last week that we were here, we had one provider for this child. We found another provider. These are the only two providers right now that we know of in the state of Pennsylvania that would take this child. So this is another option, and once this resolution gets approved, then we can start getting into details about, the big thing is transportation for them. They gotta come back to court every 3 or 4 months, So we wanna consider both of them, see if they do the transport, if they don't do transport, or how, So at least we have, this is the second option. This rate is $208.73 compared to.
That's a good rate, am I correct in saying
Yes.
that? Yes, okay.
Because the other one, the child had to occupy 2 beds, the only one in the room, that was like 7 something.
Right.
But we could figure out about transportation, medical, and stuff like that. Like I said, it's not like it's an hour away, So at least that'll give us some options there.
Well, we appreciate your bringing this forward for our attention. I'll see if Loretta has questions.
No questions, just thank you for the diligence in trying to find these different locations, because it's just not on the CYS side, there's also on the juvenile detention side of things. There's a great need for beds
Right.
to house individuals.
And by no means, I want to take all the credit, because the supervisors, the caseworkers, the kinship, they're all calling all these places
Yes.
to see, if they would accept this child.
We appreciate that. Anything else, Loretta? No. Brian?
No, it's just people don't realize the logistics that CYS has to deal with. Like he said, unfortunately, many of these students young people have unique placement needs, and many of these facilities are some distance away. And then an ongoing basis, once kids are in placement, our staff has to do regular visits to them. Even the kids within the county and the neighboring counties have school, medical appointments, parental visitation. The logistics is just overwhelming almost, but I commend the CYS staff. It's a very difficult job, and they have my full support.
Thank you, Brian. If there are no other questions or comments, I could take a motion then to approve proposed resolution 397.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you both. Any other comments or concerns? We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you, Chris. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you
you're
so
welcome.
much.
Hope you have a great day.
You too.
Scott Baldwin, our Director of Mental Health and Developmental Services Office, is with us. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Short and sweet for you today.
And by the way, well, if you don't mind, we kind of said to everybody else, yeah, we need to go. Would you mind staying? We have one little question on the next issue, but we'll start with proposed resolution 398. This is a proposed contract, I believe, with an organization known as Thoughtful Needs, based in Farrell, Mercer County. I'll let you fill us in.
This is a contract that's Human Services Block Grant funded July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. Thoughtful Needs provides home, community, and companion services for our ID folks. We would have done this with our last batch, but the provider was a little late getting us the paperwork, but again, home and community companion services, providing folks a variety of different supports that they get in the home, as well as taking them shopping, just providing them supports, whatever that looks like. So, we're very grateful. It's been a long time provider.
So it's a renewal.
It's a renewal contract.
Very
and the total of dollars amount for that is $30,000.
Very thoughtful of you to bring this to our attention. Mr. Burek, do you have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the resolution that's in our packet actually has the dates of the agreements, July 1, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. I believe those dates need updated, correct?
Yeah.
So,
You have the resolution in front of you. If you don't,
I just have the work statement.
you want to confirm what Mr. Burek just said, and I'll need to have that back.
unless I'm wrong, those dates need updated to 2023 to 2024.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, no, that's okay. These things happen.
But with that correction of the dates for the next fiscal year, I would move for the adoption of Resolution 398.
Second.
Thank you.
Yes.
Then do you have questions, Loretta?
No, because it's correct in the
The attachment's
number
correct.
two, yes.
Well, thank you both. If there are no other questions for Scott, we can move ahead with proposed resolution 398 as it has been amended. I'll ask Chris to call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Buick,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Hey, Scott, if my colleagues don't mind, we have two transfers, and I'd like to jump down to the second one, just for help for me, primarily. More often than not, when we get transfer requests, usually they're coming from contingency into another line item. And this one threw me for a loop. I had to go trouble poor Joe here, but is this correct? Are these dollars that are going into your contingency?
Yeah, and to give you the exact rate, this is block grant dollars, and the positive thing about block grant, it gives us the ability to move these dollars around. So last year, we moved dollars into G&A because they ran out of fentanyl, and we used, I believe it was mental health dollars to say, we'll buy more. And that's what the block grant allows us. The dollars follow the need. To give you the exact reason, I'm guessing that those dollars weren't needed for that purchase, and they're being put back into contingency until we find the need. That's the beauty of the block grant. So
Right.
that's kind of what those dollars move around for.
That's for me at least, and I'm sure for my colleagues, very helpful explanation. The dollar amount, I should have said this at the outset. What we're doing is we're transferring $26,001 from the drug and alcohol line item into contingency. And I really appreciate you giving us.
Because they couldn't be moved back in there.
Yes.
And I get with Albert for the specific definition of where that dollar, but my guess is right now is that we're not sure. It's just those dollars have flexibility with them, so
Right.
that makes
Your
sense.
explanation to me is most helpful.
Yes.
Brian, do you have questions for Scott on this one?
No.
Thank you. Loretta?
No.
Okay. Thank you for sticking around on that. Again, if you need to head out now, you're
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And to my two colleagues, thank you for letting me drop down to that. The other transfer that we have comes from the coroner's office. He's asking for a $50 transfer from his Act 182 contingency line item into Act 182 maintenance and repairs. May I, if you're so willing, may I have a motion for both of these requests?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? Do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel.
Yes.
Commissioner Buick.
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. We'll move ahead then. We'll jump down to ordinances, and both Mr. Zona and Mr. Coolness were here to talk about the proposed recycling solid waste ordinance. This would be ordinance number 2 of 2023, the municipal waste management ordinance. And I'll read it into the record. It's an ordinance of Lawrence County, Pennsylvania, with the purpose of protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of Lawrence County, requiring that all municipal waste be conveyed to a facility designated by Lawrence County Municipal Waste Management Plan, regulating the care and removal of municipal waste and recyclables in accordance with the plan, and providing penalties for violations. Now, my understanding is this proposed ordinance will appear in the Newcastle News in the legal ad section. A copy will be available in our office and at the law library. And I'm trying to recall, do we consider this two different meetings? I might be getting my rules mixed up.
Yes.
But we'll double check with our solicitor. But I think we
Yes,
have
we
to.
I remember one ordinance, we've only done it one or two other ordinances, but I think it has to go through several meetings.
Is that your recollection as well, Brian?
We run it through 2 public meetings. So today we introduce it, we review it next week, and then we plan to, we can vote on adoption 2 weeks from today.
Thank you. Appreciate you both, all three of you helping me with that. So that'll be the plan going forward. But in order for this to happen, may I have a motion then to proceed with this proposed ordinance in terms of its introduction?
Right.
I move to introduce and table ordinance number 2 of 2023, which is our municipal solid waste management ordinance.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Loretta. Comment, Jerry, anything, or John, anything we've overlooked?
No.
Okay, Loretta or Brian, anything else? All right, thank you. I need to probably give some credit to Jason Medora, our solicitor. I assume you had some conversations.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, thank you. We'll give him some credit for his help. We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Bjork?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Couple of announcements. The commissioners will meet once again a week from today, Tuesday, October 24 at 10 a.m. It's a public meeting. It'll be in this room. Our monthly prison board meeting that would normally take place tomorrow, October 18, that meeting has been canceled. Let me open the floor for any public comments at this time. I saw Debbie walk in, but then it dawned on me there's a homicide trial going on up in courtroom 1, and I'll bet you she had to head back up. I'm sure she's covering that, so that's probably why she's not here. If there are no public comments, yes, ma'am.
Oh, which homicide trial is that?
That is the one involving the incident that took place at the pizza shop on Highland Avenue.
Scussies.
A young man was shot and killed in the parking lot. Those are open to the public, by the way. If you're interested in observing a homicide trial, you're permitted to sit in the audience section and watch it. So, but that's, I believe, where Debbie is right. That's going to be my guess as to where Debbie might be. Closing comments. Commissioner Spielvogel.
Nothing.
Thank you. Commissioner Burek.
Loretta won't be surprised. I did think of something else. We mentioned,
Somebody has to think for me. That's okay.
real briefly, we did mention Union Township during the CDBG resolution. I just want to note for the record, and you folks probably know this, but last month, one of the Union Township supervisors resigned,
Yes.
Vincent Gentile. He took a job out of town, and I was pleased to see this past week the supervisor's name, Vince Foligno.
Yes.
Most people know him. He's a local funeral director, a fine gentleman. I've known Vince since we were in high school. He is now the newest Union Township supervisor. So just want to note that for the record and congratulate Vince. As everybody knows, the commissioners, this board especially, have worked very hard to keep good working relationships
Yes.
with all of our local municipal officials, including our township supervisors. So congratulations to Mr. Vince Foligno for being appointed as Union Township supervisor.
See, the rule out there is your first name has to be Vince.
There you go.
But
Vince for Vince.
all joking aside, they made an excellent
Yes,
choice. He is a
excellent choice.
first-class gentleman,
Yes.
and he'll do it. And I'm sure he'll work well with the other two. But boy, they made a tremendous choice.
And I have to say the same for our judge's choice with our new commissioner.
Oh, yes, that's been proven true. And now that you've brought that up, let's not overlook Slippery Rock Township. We lost our good friend Sonny Croce.
Yes.
And the other two supervisors appointed Fred Yeager from Rose Point Campground. Fred is a first-class guy. And then it just dawned on me out in Pulaski Township, they had a resignation a few months ago, and they appointed a good friend of mine, Lou Grell, Dr. Lou Grell, who's 91 years old and formerly was a supervisor, and he'll fill in till the end of the year. But boy, I tell you, they've been appointing some good people around the county. But I'm glad you mentioned Vince.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Joe or Chris, anything we've missed? Thank you. May I have an adjournment motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye, opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. And Joe, you'll take care of Thank you all for joining us today.